Hello, hello, everybody. Today I have with me Jordana Jaffe, and she is going to talk to us about organizing our art businesses and our lives so that we feel a little bit more on top of things, a little less stressed, and especially because I know that a lot of artists, myself included, feel a little bit like organization is maybe not for us, or we're not capable of it. It's not true, and, I found that the more organized we can get, actually the more space we have to be creative because things are taken care of. We're not as stressed, I guess. So I'm excited to have Jordana here today so that she can kind of take us through some of her tips, tricks, strategies, kind of things that can really help us get all set and organized. Hey, Jordana.
Hey, I'm so glad to be on the call today. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited, and I'm here to support everyone however I can.
Great, great. And Jordana is, her business is The Organized Entrepreneur. And I wanted to make sure I got that out so that if you're looking for her online, you should still be able to find her, Jordana Jaffe, on Google, but you can also be able to Google The Organized Entrepreneur so that you have more ways to find her if you don't write down her web address. So I wanted to go ahead and jump right in if that's okay with you.
Yeah, definitely. Just to clarify for everyone, so it is The Organized Entrepreneur, but you can find me online at embarkability.com. So that's basically, it's spelled like it sounds, embarkability.com.
That's EMBARKABILITY. And I will send out an email afterward with her web address for you guys and all the contact information in case you want to get to know her a little bit better. She's got amazing loads of free stuff. I'm on her newsletter list and get lots of her free stuff in my inbox that's really powerfully helpful. So I hope some of you guys will take her up on that. But I'm going to go ahead and get to some of the questions that I wanted to ask Jordana today. And, of course, there will be time for you at the end of the call to ask your own questions that you have of her if we haven't talked through them already, or if you need a refresher, if you missed it or something, you can certainly ask those at the end of the call by raising your hand, which I'll tell you how to do then, or by typing in the question box on the event page on the web. So the first question I wanted to ask Jordana is that we artists, we tend to struggle to get things done on a day-to-day basis. You hit the end of the week and you look back and you're like, where did all the time go? There's no paintings that you've finished and there's no sales to prove that you worked really hard. But you constantly felt busy the entire week. So I was wondering, Jordana, if you have any tips for organizing your week so that you can see real results.
Totally. So, first and foremost, I want everyone to know that you're very much not alone. If you can relate to this and if this resonates with you. In fact, most people feel this way a lot of the time. And I once heard that someone said that if we want to know what our priorities are, we should look at either our bank statements or our calendar, because our priorities are reflected either by how we spend our time or our money. And what's funny is that sometimes we may think that our priorities are one thing. We might be like, oh, well, my priority is X, Y, Z, but when you look at your bank statement or calendar, it's not congruent. So with that in mind, you maybe do for a priority reality check of sorts. So the first thing is to just be super clear on what your priorities are, right? So if your true priority is to have a certain number of paintings or sales, be really clear and congruent with that. The other thing is that in terms of priorities, I kind of compare priorities to best friends. You can only have, it's kind of you can't have hundreds of best friends. And even if you have if you say you have 20 best friends, in all likelihood, 4 or 5 of them are your bestest best friends. So the same thing goes with priorities. You can't have 20 priorities. In all likelihood, you can probably sustain 3 to 5. So be really clear about what the priorities are. And this, just to clarify, this includes both life and business. So when I'm saying 3 to 5. So first and foremost, super clear your priorities are and feel really aligned with them and to the degree that you feel that you can take clear ownership of them. Because what will happen when you just go about doing that is that you'll find that you actually start getting things done much more easily and organically. But in terms of some other things to do, one thing to do, which is a bit tedious, but it's actually wildly effective, is time tracking. And that's basically like every single time you do anything, like you wake up, for example, and it's 9 o'clock. So you'll write like 9 o'clock, I woke up. And then whenever you do another action, you write the time first. And what happens is that you become A, super clear as to where your time is going, and B, you're a lot less likely to get distracted because you really don't want to say like 9:03, checked email, 9:07, went to go get a snack, 9:09, picked up the phone. You want to stay very focused then, right? So the whole time tracking can feel really tedious, but it's a huge wake-up call. And because it completely holds you accountable to what is or is not going on during your day. And it also, A, will reveal your time leaks, but also will prevent them because, as I said, you're going to be a lot more conscious of, okay, wait, I'm spending a lot of time on Facebook, or okay, I'm spending a lot more time eating lunch than I thought I was. So that's the first thing. Time tracking is wildly effective. The next thing is if your goal, for example, just because this was part of the question, is to have a certain number of paintings or a certain number of sales, to list the 3 to 5 best things for you to do to make sure that that happens. So you want to be super clear not only on what your goal is, but also like what are the 3 to 5 things that you must do to make sure that that happens. Another tip is to carve out your time in your calendar in advance. So don't leave things to chance, and rather, whether it's Sunday or Monday, whenever you want to plan out your calendar, set aside time to do those things that are going to get your goals accomplished. And lastly, just from a more holistic place, be mindful of what your natural tendencies are. For example, if you're a morning person, don't schedule that you're going to like do a lot of things in the morning, because you're just not a morning person. So sometimes we feel like we should do certain things, but it really doesn't matter what we think we should or shouldn't do if you're a night person, respect that and honor that. And if you're a morning person, respect that as well. And the same thing goes with just like your energy. If you know that you have more energy at a certain time during the day, honor that and don't go against that, because the more that you honor that, the easier it will be to just get things done when you want to. So be realistic with yourself above everything else.
That's great. I even found that being mindful of my natural tendencies, I found that being mindful of where I naturally work better is actually really helpful for me too. Like I don't work very well with lots of things going on. So I need to not be, like, in the main living space with the rest of my family. You know, I need to, like, if I need to get something done, I need to shut myself away. And I think we tend to kind of ignore those things, you know, what time of day we work well at and where we need to be to really be productive. And I think that, that's a really great tip for helping us to kind of carve out the right kind of space and time for us to really make us set us up for winning, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Totally.
So let's move on to, I like this question. So when you have a show coming up as an artist, it can kind of feel like it's coming really fast, and you're trying to get a new series finished, and you're sort of like, oh, yeah, it's months away, but then suddenly it's not months away, and you have this deadline coming. Do you have any suggestions for kind of good time management, I guess, as a deadline like an exhibition is approaching?
Definitely, yeah. So the first thing that you want to do when you have something like that, or really any big project that you want to get done at a certain time, is to first get clear on everything that needs to get done up to that point, right? So you want to just have a huge brain dump of all the things that need to get done. So that's the first step, to just take 5 minutes, however long it might take you, and just write it all down. If you're a pen and paper kind of person, you can do that. If you want to do it on the computer, that's fine too. The next thing is to look on that whole list